Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah. Everything else.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation by the Reverend David McMurray of the First Baptist Church of Blackwood.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, I want to begin with asking your mercy, your grace, your comfort to the families of the three staff, parents and extended families of the three students in Nashville who lost their lives today in still another school shooting. We are constantly troubled by these things in our nation. We beg for your intervention, and particularly just now, your comfort and nearness to these 6, and I think even one offender lost their life. God, please, would you speak to us as people, and would you strengthen us and give us an agreed upon approach to the various ways to prevent and hinder and minimize this plague across our nation. Thank you for what's happening in Gloucester Township and the preventive steps, training, the ongoing work that will not happen in this place. Thank you for that, God. As you would bless this police department and the legislative piece, all this going on to prevent as best we might this kind of behavior. Lord, would you now, tonight, in this place, give great hope for women who make a difference and all others in our township that contribute sacrificially, energetically. We're working together to indeed make this a place where people want to live and work and play. May that be real here, not just a slogan. May it be a common commitment more than just a thing that we say. God, I'm begging for your intervention, for your comfort, for your guidance, to give us wisdom, give us plans, strategies. This might be a great place to raise a family, to build friendships, make contribution, be sacrificial citizens, leave the world a better place than what we found. God, help us be those kinds of people. Lead us in that direction, please. In Jesus' name. Amen.
This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and request all those wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Ms. Grace. Here. Mrs. Albright Troxel. Here. Mrs. Stubbs.
She's absent.
Mrs. Winters. Here. Mr. Mignon.
He is had a family matter.
Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Carlemere.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here.
Chief Harkins.
Here.
Mr. McGill.
Here. This evening, we celebrate Women's History Month, and we celebrate the women who make a difference here in Gloucester Township. I'm going to read our proclamation, and then we'll go into our presentation. Whereas the Township of Gloucester takes pride in recognizing March 2023 as Women's History Month, celebrating women of every race, class, and ethnic background and their historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas National Women's History Week was first introduced to the nation in the message from President Carter, designating March 2nd through the 8th, 1980 as such, and asking Americans to recognize this week with appropriate activities. And whereas in the same year, Representative Mikulski, House of Representatives, and Senator Orrin Hatch co-sponsored a congressional resolution for National Women's History Week 1981, which demonstrated a wide-ranging political support for recognizing, honoring, and celebrating the achievements of American women. And whereas by 1986, 14 states had declared March as Women's History Month, and this state-by-state action was used as the rationale to lobby Congress to declare the entire month of March 1987 as National Women's History Month. And in 1987, Congress declared the month of March as National Women's History Month in perpetuity. And whereas we recognize this year's theme of celebrating women who tell our stories, as declared by the National Women's History Alliance, which spearheaded the movement for March being declared National Women's History Month. And whereas this year's timely theme honors women in every community who have devoted their lives and talents to producing art, pursuing the truth, reflecting the human condition decade after decade through all forms of media and storytelling, such as print, radio, television, stage, screen, blogs, podcasts, and more. And whereas from the earliest storytellers through pioneering journalists of today, women have long been instrumental in passing our heritage through word and print to communicate the lessons of those who came before us. And whereas women's stories as told through authors, teachers, artists, songwriters, scholars, and playwrights expand our understanding and strengthen our connections with each other and give voice to the voiceless. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, David R. Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and I, Orlando Mercado, President of Council of the Township of Gloucester, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2023 as Women's History Month and call upon the people of the Township of Gloucester to observe this month with appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies. I'll now hand over the program to Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here this evening as we celebrate women who make a difference. And I have the honor of calling two women up to join me here, Kristen Samuelson and Desiree Miller, please. Very nice to see you. So I nominated Kristen and Desiree because of what they are doing in our community with a nonprofit. They founded Three Little Birds Pregnancy and Infant Loss Support Center, located in the downtown Blackwood section of Gloucester Township. Before I tell you a little bit about both of them, I want to tell you about the nonprofit. Of course, I put my glasses on. So Three Little Birds focuses on assisting families that experience neonatal loss, terminal fetus prognosis, and pregnancy after loss. They help families locate, which I think is very important, condition-specific resources, because when an individual or a family goes through something like this, they don't really probably know where to go or that there are resources out there. So these ladies help provide that resource. They initiate peer connections and they validate their grief through loss. They have also done something very interesting they have created a community within their Three Little Birds community, because individuals are going through very similar things and they share those common experiences and they can relate to one another. And so they have built a community within a community. They were founded in 2016 and have supported more than 350 families. Their mission includes educating and empowering maternal, fetal, medical professionals who support lost families at their bedside with their perinatal bereavement training program. And last year, through that program, they certified 10 local healthcare professionals and 11 volunteer advocates, all doing great work in our area and received some attention from KYW News, I understand. So great job. So let me talk to you about Kristen. So Kristen was raised here in Gloucester Township. She attended and graduated from Ariel Elementary, C.W. Lewis, and Highland High School, class of 2000. And your parents still reside here in Gloucester Township, over 30 years, and your sister. And I didn't realize you knew Gloucester Township as well as you do, because she is employed by Remington and Bernick engineers. That's our township engineer, and she writes the proposals for our road programs, park and recreation. Oh, okay. But you still know Gloucester Township. I know it's very close to your heart. Kristen has more than 7 years experience in serving dozens of families from a professional and personal perspective. She performs functions that include going to individuals' bedside to support their loss at hospitals or funeral homes, virtual and in-person support, legacy project management, grant research and writing. She is also an author of several publications, including the Pregnancy and Infant Loss Journal, A Nest for My Heart, as well as Our Nest Grows, a pregnancy after loss book, and Remembering Baby Bird, a support book for siblings that in addition to their perinatal bereavement training workshop for medical professionals and advocates. She is a certified bereavement doula, and she provides one-on-one consultations for parents and families. Desiree. So Desiree also grew up here in Gloucester Township and attended Ariel Elementary and C.W. Lewis School. She has served more than 250 families at their bedside to provide the gift of infant portraiture and memory making through her volunteer service that she started, I guess, several years ago. Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, and now through this new endeavor of Three Little Birds. They search programs. Yeah, no, I'm gonna get on it. So they work to support families in our region with personalized support through their palliative care program and their pregnancy after loss program. And she is a prime program sponsor through her studio, Images Everything Studios in Pittman. She provides direct support through their general grief group, which meets on the second Mondays of each month. And she does direct support. She is also an author and produced Three Little Birds perinatal bereavement training program for medical professionals and advocates. Now, I also found out a couple of fun facts about both of them, that they rarely say no to one another, which is very good, right? But they could nudge each other when they think maybe you should be no. Oh, does she? Oh my gosh, my goodness. They grew up, this is very interesting, they grew up on the same street in Gloucester Township, about 20 homes apart on the same side of the street. Now, they don't remember playing with each other while they were there, but they do remember that I guess it was the township that planted trees. So they I wasn't the mayor. What year was it?
Early 90s.
Oh gosh, no, I wasn't there. See that?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
they
no.
kind of on our sledding
On a
hill.
sledding hill.
Kids trying to sled.
Isn't that outrageous?
No, we did, we just sledded on top of them.
Yeah.
We broke every tree.
They destroyed township property.
I apologize now.
They kind of can read each other's minds. They have their own language. They kind of figure out what each other is going to say, because when you work so closely together, you get to know a person like that. And I am told that they have the same twisted sense of humor. So you kind of need humor, right?
Yeah.
So I nominate you because of the outstanding work that you're doing and the difference that you're making in people's lives at probably one of the worst times in their lives. And we appreciate you doing that and being of service, not only to our Gloucester Township community, but the communities around. So congratulations to both of you. Thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Desiree?
Yeah.
This is yours. Here, let me get that. And you've got some certificates from the Congressman Norcross, the freeholders, the state assembly. Would you like to say a few words?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for this honor. We want to dedicate it to all of the moms in our nest over on the Pike. We're at the side office at Discover Chiropractic. Our office is small but mighty. Right now there's a group going on over there, crafting their little hearts out, connecting and validating one another. Being able to do this in the town that I grew up in is tremendous, and especially to do it with this woman. My only wish is that I had met her the day I lost my own baby. So, but thank you, and thank you, Desiree.
Thank you. I just want to add, and I was saying this, we are we are quickly outgrowing our space over on the Blackbirds Pike because we are just one, I knew she was taking my picture, so I couldn't talk. We are just one back office at Discover Chiropractic, and we are so thankful that we got a grant that we could afford to pay rent for a year or 2 years. We are outgrowing it. So if anyone wants to reach out to Three Little Birds that knows of a property for rent that's affordable or free, we're really desperate. My last support group, we can't say no to people, but we squeezed 26 people in a room. What's 20 by 20? It was, we're gonna keep going, but if anybody has any leads, thank you. Thank you so much, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. See a lot of handsome and pretty people here tonight. This is nice. We usually don't see a whole lot of people. I would like to call up Susan Mascabrota. Nice to meet you too. I'm just meeting her for the first time, but I'm very impressed by her. Susan's lived in Gloucester Township for over 26 years, and she lives in the Blackwood section of Gloucester Township with her 26-year-old son, 23-year-old son. Somebody did a typo. Uh-oh. They better not do that on my age. I'll get upset. Anyway, she works in the field of IT. Now, if you know IT, that's really technical these days, and I think I'm going to pick her brain after this to learn some things from her. And she enjoys baking, so a few people like to eat sweets. She likes biking, and she loves to read. I always admire people who read because you learn so much from a book. And you don't see a lot of books these days anymore except in libraries, but if you get an opportunity, especially the little kids, read your good books because they're great. They'll take you on adventures you've never been before. Good. Well, prior to moving to Gloucester Township, Susan was a volunteer she was a firefighter with the Blenheim Fire Department, which used to be my fire department, which I love. And after volunteering and working in the township, she knew that Gloucester Township was where she wanted to be. When her son began volunteering for her parish as an altar server, she learned that the ministry was in need of a new leader. So guess what she did? She served as the altar server ministry leader for almost 6 years. And she did it at Our Lady of Hope Grace of Hope Parish and then she stepped down from that position because she had done it for 6 years. And then she later became an extraordinary minister of Holy Communion and is still active in the ministry. I want to touch her for good luck. Susan first became involved with the Gloucester Township Police Department, volunteering for the 2016 USPCA National Patrol Dog Trials. And after attending the Citizens Police Academy the following year, she applied to be part of the newly formed Citizen Volunteer Team. So you can see when Susan sees a need, she quickly likes to help to fill that need. She enjoys being part of a team, and that's really important if you want to be successful. You have to be part of a team because nobody can do anything by themselves. It takes a lot of people to do one thing, to do it right. And she likes working in the department with the Gloucester Township Police and all the officers, and everybody gets along great with her, and she loves it. And one person, Corporal Jen McLaughlin, described Susan. She said, "You're very friendly, and you're always willing to step up and take the lead." And that's wonderful. Well, I think Susan summed it up by saying, volunteering for the township allows me to meet new people and fulfill my desire to be of service to others. And I say, I'm glad we have people like this in our township that are willing to step up and help. Thank you, Susan. And she also gets all those awards. Oh. Young and thin.
Thank you.
Say a few words.
Just want to thank everyone for the recognition.
Here's, so we can hear you.
I mean, thank you everyone, and thank you for the recognition.
I never heard that. Good evening. Our next recipient is Shayna Mosley. She could not be here today because she's ill, but her husband, Erwin, is here. So he's in her place. Normally, I highlight some of the things that are put in the narrative, but she was nominated by the principal at Timber Creek High School, Kelly McKenzie. And I wouldn't do justice if I just highlighted it, because Kelly wrote a very wonderful narrative about Shayna. So I'm going to read that for you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. encouraged us all to explore life's most persistent question: what are you doing for others? We are honored to nominate an individual who does so much for others, Miss Shayna Mosley. Shayna is an elected member of the Board of Education, the Black Horse Pike Regional School District, a parent and a resident of Gloucester Township for over 20 years. Shayna and Erwin had 3 children: Sean, a Timber Creek graduate of 2016, Tatum, a Timber Creek graduate of 2022, and Peyton, a graduate of 2025. Her daughter, Tatum, describes the most inspiring thing about her mom is Shayna's resilience and her strength. Last January, I had the privilege of watching Shayna be sworn in as the newest member of the Black Horse Pike Regional Board of Education. I remember she had on a navy blue suit with a white floral lapel pin. She smiled as she raised her right hand, and in that moment, I felt her advocacy, her passion, and her care. Her example of character is what we want in our students. It's what I want for each one of you. Giving back is such an amazing gesture. So after you finish living your best life and specializing in things that make you great, examine ways to pour into other students, lend a hand in our community, and advocate for things that make our world better. Apart from this opportunity to serve on our board, Shayna has volunteered her time with both Lilly and Mullins Home and School Councils, the Unforgotten Haven, the Sunday Love Project, and the South Jersey Food Bank. She has positively affected countless lives through feeding the homeless and helping those who are not able to help themselves. Shayna was created with purpose, and we celebrate her gift. I encourage every student to uplift others, prioritize service, and foster leadership. The Charger family never doubts the power of community. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. In this world full of people, be a Shayna Mosley. Shayna and I share the same street, and we share the same love for our community and our students. Again, it gives me great pleasure to nominate Ms. Shayna Mosley in honor of Women's History Month for Gloucester Township. And this was submitted by Principal McKenzie at Timber Creek Regional High School. So on behalf of Gloucester Township, Erwin, if you could present this to your wife when you get home, to Shayna Mosley in recognition of her exemplary leadership, outstanding service, and dedication to people of the Township of Gloucester, March 2023, Gloucester Township Council, Mayor Dave, Mayor and Council. There is a proclamation, a citation from Donald Norcross, our Congressman, the Board of Commissioners of Camden County, and also from the state legislature.
Good evening, everyone.
Andrea McPherson, if you could please come up, nominated by Mary Jo Dentino. Okay. And I'd like to start by saying, and I'm gonna have Mary Jo present this to you. The word, I'm gonna hold on to it right now, but I just want, because when I spoke to Mary Jo earlier today, she had mentioned you are a woman who's always behind the scenes, but you're everywhere. And it just kind of struck me as a person who is a phenomenal woman. So I enjoyed talking to Mary Jo. And she also says that you help kids with special needs, and you will get up in the middle of the night to go help the elderly or anyone that's in need. So I was really struck, and I want to just kind of read a little snippet from Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Woman, for you, okay? But I'm going to read, I don't know if your husband is here, but I'm just going to start by saying she does have a son, Troy, who works in district, and daughter, Jana, who is here. She is a PhD student, and she's a professor at Drexel University.
Yes.
And
I get the brains for that.
Andrea's passion is dog rescuing, and she has 3 dogs of her own. She is involved in all of Gloucester Township. Anywhere there's a dog that is homeless or, you know, on the street, she's there. That's all. I'm everywhere. So that's a very wonderful thing that you do for our community. Also, she's involved with the shooting, the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, and giving support dogs to those who are grieving. So that was another wonderful thing that she does. She helps with the strays in Gloucester Township. And also she has a dear neighbor that is elderly, and she will take her to doctor's appointments, help her with her eye exams, anything regarding her health, just anyone. She just reaches out to them, and she's there to help. So I'm gonna read Mary Jo's, I'm having Mary Jo hold on to this because I want you to present that to her. So Mary Jo wrote, "It is a pleasure to enthusiastically recommend Andrea McPherson for the Woman Who Makes a Difference Award. I have known Andrea for over 10 years. In all the time I've known her, I've always been impressed by her character. She is selfless, honest, and trustworthy person who always goes out of her way to help others. She has worked in town, helping many children and families in one way or another, whether it is to help someone succeed, help someone in need, make someone's life easier, provide clothing to those in need, or just a little kind gesture to show she cares. She is always putting others before herself. I have witnessed her find homes for pets in need, drive neighbors to appointment, join in the search for a missing child in the community. She is always doing some sort of random act of kindness. She's always going over and above. I really don't know how she has the time left in her day for her family, because she does so much for others. She is dedicated. She's a dedicated wife, mother, and daughter whose family is her everything. She is unique. She's a unique individual, genuinely one of a kind. For all of these reasons and so many more, we are recommending Gloucester, on behalf of Gloucester Township and Council and Mary Jo, we are recommending her for the Women Who Make a Difference Award in 2023. Okay. And before we read that, I just want to read this because this is, I thought of her. Oh. I just want to read a little snippet. I'm not going to read Maya Angelou's poem, but I just want to read because she is a phenomenal woman. So it says, phenomenal woman, that is she. It is the arch of her back, the sun of her smile, the grace of her style. She is woman, phenomenal woman, that is she. She doesn't shout or jump out or have to talk real loud. When you see her passing, it ought to make you proud. I say it is the click of her heels, the bend of her hair, the palm of her hand, the need for her care. 'Cause she is woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman. That is she. This too out loud. That would be nice. We'll just take that right there. Here you go. And then you can say what you want to do. Okay, all right, you want it, okay. On behalf of Gloucester Township and Council and Gloucester Township, Women Who Make a Difference, presented to Andrea McPherson in recognition of your exemplary leadership, outstanding service, and dedication to people of the township, March 2023. Gloucester Township Mayor Dave, our mayor and council. Congratulations. Okay. Okay. You guys, you got a lot of stuff in there. Say a few words.
Oh my God, I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so honored to be recognized this way, but even more so because it came from somebody that inspires me. So that makes it even more special. And to share this space, this floor, with these level of women and the stories that I heard, I'm very moved, I'm very honored. Thank you all. Thank you.
Michelle.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to introduce the nomination for Women Who Make a Difference is Michelle Traeger. She was nominated by Judy Calabrese. Just going to read what Judy wrote and then just say a couple things. So Michelle's always the first to volunteer for any activity involving the GT Scholarship Committee. She works GT Day, the Wine and Beer Festival in downtown Blackwood, movie night at the college, 5K run. She's always the first to arrive and one of the last ones to leave. The committee depends on her participation. She also involves her family in these activities. I feel that Michelle is a perfect example of women who make a difference. So I can say I met Michelle back, I guess it was early 90s, late 90s. Our daughters were in high school together. And it was, I think, one of the first of the Relay for Life functions out here at the park. And our daughters both played field hockey. So we were two of the moms who went and we were there all night, dealing with 10 or 12, however many it was, high school girls. So that was always, entertaining. And we did that for a couple of years. And I always see her and her family. Judy was right. Whenever Michelle is there volunteering her time, someone is there with her, whether it's her husband, her daughter, Melissa, or her son, Anthony. They're always participating in different functions. And the list is longer than what Judy mentioned here. I know that she helps give out the baskets for Easter to families in need, and before Thanksgiving for families in need, driving around the town, dropping off baskets for those who need help. So the Traeger family is always involved. And, I think Judy's the one, pulling them along and saying, hey, come with me, let's go do this. But she's always involved in things and doing what's best for the town and for the citizens in the town. So it's my pleasure to give this award. Not going to go through the whole list since everybody did already, but here's the plaque and thank you. Thank you.
So I learned when I get nervous, I have to say avocado inside my head, and then I don't get nervous anymore. That's relevant here. This recipient is no longer with us. Her name is Trudy Vernon, and I think some of her family may be here. Can you raise your hand? I want to see the grandchildren. Are they these two cuties right here? Okay. And Mr. Vernon, is that you, sir? Can you come with me, please? I want you all to sit there and watch. Mr. Vernon, I want you to come up here. I want you two to pay attention, okay? Chip Hildes is a teacher at Glen Landing Middle School, and he nominated Trudy. He wrote something here, and then I did a little bit of due diligence after I read it to figure out who Trudy really was. So I'm going to read what Mr. Hildes wrote first. Trudy spent her life devoted to advocating for and educating children in Gloucester Township. She graduated from Glassboro State and taught physical education, health, and life skills at Glen Landing Middle School for over 39 years. Over that time, she sometimes taught 3 generations of the same family members. For many years, she also coached cheerleading, softball, and soccer. She particularly loved leading her Hearts for Humanities Club, teaching students the lifelong value in giving back to their community. Post-retirement, she couldn't stay away, returning as a substitute teacher and continuing to make a difference in students' lives. Now, my first reach out was to my children, because my children went to Glen Landing. So I shot out text messages to my son who's finishing up college, to my daughter who teaches at Blackwood Elementary, and I got warmth back from my children. So I asked my children to write something, and Katie, who teaches 5th grade, she said, Mrs. Vernon always had a warmness to her, and you felt it as soon as you walked into her classroom. She was loving to all of her students, and always wanted everyone to feel a sense of belonging in her class. My son didn't get back to me. Judy Alberta, she lives in town. I think she's got 19 children. No, she'd kill me if she knows what I said. I think she's got 6 or 7. But Judy had Mrs. Vernon, and so did her children. And I asked her to write something to explain who she was. So, Mrs. Vernon was extremely kind and cared about every single student. She made them feel special and unique. She was funny and made us all feel at ease. She looked at you and saw a real person and treated us with respect. My entire family loved her so much. Andrea Stubbs, she said that to say she was loved and adored by students would be an understatement. There wasn't anything Mrs. Vernon wouldn't do for her students. And there wasn't a student who wouldn't do anything for her. A little levity here. Frank Schmidt, for those of you who know Frankie, he gives me the levity that brings me out of the sad. Trudy was a phys ed teacher at Glen Landing for many years. She was the cheerleading coach. She was a real firecracker, total energy, and always involved with school spirit and pep rallies. She was adored by students. She was friends with everybody and had respect of everybody. Spoke to Teresa Fitzgerald. I had a conversation with Teresa. She was a teacher at Glen Landing for a long time. And I couldn't get a word in edgewise. She kept going and going and going. And I'm like, Teresa, calm down, slow down, slow down, slow down. So what I did with Teresa was I tried to recapture what Teresa said. And I did it as follows. Trudy had a smile and a kind word for everyone, whether it be a fellow teacher, administrator, or student. She would walk down the hallway and every child would say hi to her and stop and give her hugs. Children did not disrespect Trudy. This is important, I think. She provided them with self-worth, and she was a safe place all joking. Trudy was every kid's cheerleader, and she would remember the smallest details about the kids. For example, she would remember if one of their parents were sick. She would always follow up with concern. Trudy was so special. This next quote I took from Teresa meant something. Her brain ran through her heart. So touching. Everyone, teachers, administrators, and students knew that she loved her family and adored these two. Do you have one son?
Yes, and a stepson.
Okay. Teresa remembered that that Trudy was very proud of her son and his wife. And she used to show your picture to everybody and her grandchildren. Trudy's path, it ends with Trudy's passing rattled the community, but she is remembered lovingly. Congratulations. So this is
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our celebration tonight. And I want to, first of all, of course, congratulate each one of our recipients. Thank you for what you do in this community. Thank you for being a woman who makes a difference. And I hope that you understand and the Vernon family understands the impact that all of you make in changing lives, in helping people. So I congratulate you for that, but I also thank you for being role models for other women in this community, because it is you who are paving the path, reaching out to our younger generation so that they can follow in your footsteps. So congratulations to each and every one of you. Please keep up the good work. Please keep up making that difference. Congratulations, and everyone have a great night. Thank you.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess, and can I have all the recipients come up and take a picture, please? Thank you.
Congratulations. Your wife. How your wife?
Yeah, I will. Thanks.
Congratulations. Very nice.
Congratulations.
Everybody got to come up here. Yeah.
I was coming anyhow.
He just comes out of there. I remember kidding, right? I wasn't there. But yeah, no, he.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for finishing it now. Well, it's nice to, you know, have you
I was pretty good with
I'm not a good tester at all, so it stresses me out when I have to know I have to listen to every details.
Not too long.
It isn't as bad as it. Not bad. My mom said, and the test is common sense.
Yeah, that's why we're.
You can save it from other day.
It's been a crazy work week.
This is really hard.
A lot of work that I do. Collaborating on next year, and I'm responsible to look out all the time. So I had like 15 people last week, trying to wrap everything up. Another set of meetings, so it's never ending. Never ending.
On to the next.
Yeah. Lots of meetings.
Yeah, exactly. He got lunch. Yeah. I ended up eating chocolate. I'm bringing back some old school in the summer. You know, that's school break. I love it. Sometimes I get the big circle sales. And then I'll keep the little bag, you know, they're so much, so I'll have not too many. So
Gather the roll call again, please, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Ms. Grace?
Here.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Here.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Crownmeyer?
Here.
Mr. Curtis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. McGill?
We now have the public portion. This is for agenda items only. Anyone wishing to address council may speak. Each speaker is entitled to 3 minutes. There's a total of 15 minutes for the public portion. Anyone wants to speak on any of the agenda items? Mr. Krug.
Evening, Council. Paul Krug, Blackwood Estates. I guess I just didn't want the irony to be lost between Resolution 82, which is going to be the acceptance of another cannabis retail business, and Resolution 83, which is an alcohol and drug abuse grant. They seem to kind of work directly against each other, so would ask for your consideration maybe in how to remedy that irony. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krug. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, first public portion. Mayor's memo, read by the township clerk.
Please list the following planning board appointments on the council agenda for March 27th. Cheryl Casey, Class 4, to serve the unexpired term of Herm Engelberg.
That's a former recipient of Women Who Make a Difference, Ms. Casey. So, congratulations, Ms. Casey. We have a straw poll for a proposal for the Township of Gloucester for the Blackwell Lake Dam regular inspection. Mr. Carter's brought this to my attention. There has to be a visual inspection of the dam, inspection reports for the compliance with dam safety regulations, an inspection report, an emergency action plan, existing operations and maintenance manual, and this has to be submitted to the township as well as the NJDEP. So I need a straw poll for this. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our consent agenda. Any council members like to have any item removed, please stand up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Mrs. Albright Troxel?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. Next is our GTE Gov Access email. We have one from Denise Corn at 1062 Landing Road. I'll preface by saying some of these were not we were not able to get answers for at this time, so I'll address what we can. Ms. Coyne, what's the purpose of the Lakeland Road multi-use path meeting scheduled for April 6th at 10 a.m.? And that is part of the state regulations for submitting that. Is that correct, Mr. McGill?
Yes, part of the requirements of the state.
Okay. Can you provide names of the township employees or representatives who will be available to answer public questions at the April 6th meeting? Mr. McGill will be there along with Mr. Chadwell, who's our previous engineer. Is there anyone else, Mr. McGill, that will be there?
Janai's our township planner.
Additionally, will any council members be in attendance? I don't believe so. B, why was the decision made to hold the public meeting at 10 a.m. on a work day? Most of these public hearings, when we have CDBGs or things like that, are held during the day and there's public meetings and it's made known to the public. 2, will the Lakeland Road multi-use path be presented to council for vote? In speaking to Mr. McGill, he does not believe so. Mr. Parliament, is that something? No. The existing Villages of Gloucester redevelopment plan from 2015 contained the same powers as an amended plan would have if the 6 study lots met redevelopment criteria, with the exception of the use of eminent domain and the ability to offer long-term tax abatements. The township is not going to use eminent domain. Therefore, the taxpayers pay over $23,000 for a study so that a pilot can be awarded to the developer. No. 4, we're building the Lakeland Connector Trail affect the 16 lots in the Villages of Gloucester study area in any way, either positively or negatively in relation to the study lots meeting any of the redevelopment zone criteria? If so, will the Villages of Gloucester study report be amended? At that time, at this point, Ms. Coyne, I can't provide an answer for you. I will tell you this, at the end of February, I received the Villages of Gloucester Township redevelopment plan from T&M that was provided to the township. So we'll have a conversation with T&M regarding that. The Lakeland Connector Trail runs through the area governed by the existing redevelopment plan for the Village of Gloucester. Is it necessary for the redevelopment entity to review the Lakeland Road multi-use path plans? Mr. Carlemere?
So the connector trail runs through an area governed by the existing redevelopment plan. But I don't believe that that's something that has to come before the redevelopment entity. Redevelopment entity really evaluates the purpose and ability of a plan contractor to be the redeveloper. And the only purpose there is to make sure the person is doing what the council feels is appropriate for that redevelopment zone, with financial commitment and ability to complete the project.
As Mr. Carlemere received an update from Mr. Bachman, the planning board will review the Villages of Gloucester study report as required by the LHRL.
I have not, and I think it's kind of early because that's a lot of review that boards will do, no board members before it goes before the board.
And lastly, are there any restrictions to the use or to the ownership of the former bank building in the MPP district as a result of accepting grant funding. I have not seen the terms of the grant funding there, Ms. Coyne. I will see if there's any restrictions and I'll get back to you on that.
I believe it has to stay a nonprofit. It has to stay with the township for a period of 10 years.
So rather than guessing, let's take a look at that, Mr. Carson. Number 7. Now open up the second public portion. This is for any item that anyone would like to address. Each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There is 30 minutes for the public portion. Once everyone has had an opportunity to speak, you may speak a second time if you wish to speak. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening, council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel.
Good evening.
I did hear amongst some of the comments and the awards this evening, Mrs. Stubbs had weighed in. Normally during roll call, you used to say that she was ill. We haven't heard anything lately, just looking to see how Mrs. Stubbs is doing and if she's been in touch with council.
I have not spoken to Mrs. Stubbs.
Okay, thank you.
I'll send her your well wishes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. At several meetings, questions have been asked about the self-insurance program that the township has. And at no time do I remember any answers being given. So with it being asked so many times, I don't think there was a need to email it because the question's been put out there plenty of times. My first question is just a reminder who it is that is the insurer for that policy.
So it's our.
Just the name of the company that
It's our
does it.
self-funded plan. The excess insurance is with Sun Life.
Mhm.
Been with Sun Life for a number of years now.
Mhm.
The network that's being used is Aetna. Other than that.
Okay. So not that long ago, you had anticipated a $4 million, what I would classify as a shortfall. At no time have you told us what that actual shortfall wound up being. And I think you should be able to give an answer tonight, correct?
I believe it's 3.8 million.
3.8 million. Do you still anticipate an ongoing catastrophic coverage that's going to be needed to be met?
No, I don't.
Okay. What is, and this question was asked several times as well, did you finally find out what the catastrophic threshold was before the supplemental insurance for catastrophic events would kick in?
We did not hit the aggregate attachment point, so I don't have that information.
And that point was what?
Don't know what that dollar
The-
amount was.
My problem is the
I'm not gonna
question's been
guess
asked
at
so
it.
many times.
I'm not gonna guess at it, and I don't recall you saying specifically you wanted that, but I will get that for you.
It wasn't myself that asked, it had been asked by several people. What is that threshold?
Wait, who asked?
12 million?
Who asked it?
You don't remember?
I don't recall.
Okay, I believe Mr. Heimball had asked, and I also believe one other person had asked. For the next meeting, I don't want to send an email. I'd like to know what that threshold was. If we're at 4 million short, let's say, and the catastrophic threshold is going to be 16, that's number one, that's quite a range between it, but that's also a lot of catastrophic loss that a good insurance or a good plan would at least anticipate. I'm just saying, if it was 5 million, that's a workable number. But if you're up in double digits, that's a lot of catastrophic loss that has to be met somehow. And at the point when you anticipated 4 million, you went out and borrowed to make that up. I mean, granted, you could have used the COVID money because theoretically, that's kind of what it's for these type of events. But I'm just a little curious. We've got to at some point find out what that threshold is, because if the plan is that bad, that the threshold is double digits, 10, 12, 14 million, maybe we need to revisit that.
The plan is not that bad. The plan is not a bad plan.
But what is that catastrophic threshold? What is the difference?
I just told you, I will get for you. I believe it's around
All right.
10 or 11 million.
So if it was good, we wouldn't have had to borrow
We
money.
did not hit that point. The problem is you had multiple claims that were spread out, and we had some very serious claims.
And I get that, and I'm not gonna claim, but
You
you keep saying we didn't meet the threshold as if you know what the threshold is, but yet you don't know what the threshold is. That's why the question keeps being asked. And one last question, because my time is gonna run out. At any time, is this something that goes before the local finance board in any discussions to the day-to-day activities and funds of the township? Is this something that the local finance board would even look at any time when you're sitting down with them?
Ms. Cars?
We did already go before the local finance.
That was to go for that $4 million.
Correct.
And they were okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Burns?
Good evening, Council. Brian Burns, Saulwood Drive and Ariel. Got a couple quick things on the agenda. My most recent information on the Rossi, it is still with Green Acres. Is that as far as everyone knows?
That's my information.
Yes, that's the latest I have too.
We reviewed it last week. It was sent back to us. The mayor and Janiza, the planner, and myself went through the list. There were a couple properties that we requested be removed from the list. And then now it's back to the state of New Jersey.
Okay, thank you on that. The other thing I was curious about what the latest situation is with the warehouse behind Target. There's been a crew of tree cutters in there and brush people in there for the last week. A lot of residents in the Independence Square are very upset. They were under the impression that nothing could be done, but I guess if it's owned by an individual, he can cut down trees if he wants. But a question pops in my head is, why would someone move ahead spending a lot of money removing a lot of trees if they don't think they're going to be successful in building a warehouse? The last I heard from Mr. Carlin was that the applicant has not, as of yet, 2 meetings ago, turned in a complete application.
That's correct. I don't know why they would clear the land.
Okay.
They have not come back to the planning board. That application was not deemed complete. The information that was sent out to the residents was not correct.
Right.
So that is the latest that I know. I don't know if anyone knows anything else. Mr. Hutchinson, planning board has not come for you as a liaison there.
Just so you know, they are traversing over public sidewalks to get into that space. And with heavy equipment. I'm sure that's not something that's permitted.
I don't know. That's
Why would you think, so long as they take the necessary precautions with wood and lumber? I've seen some developments where they do that. They have their 4x6s, 2x4s, and then lumber across the top so they don't damage the sidewalk. They're responsible if they damage the sidewalk.
Okay.
I've seen that, but I don't believe there's a regulation that says they can.
Okay, I just want to clarify on that. The other thing I wanted to share you guys, because I think being educated is the best way to make smart decisions. My last time here, I gave you information on brook trout, the state fish, and how rare they are, and they had to pull out map and all that sort of thing. This is an older pamphlet, but it certainly is interesting for people who may not have a scientific background in terms of watersheds and whatnot. I'm assuming everybody in the council knows what a watershed is. It's not a building in your backyard full of water. and the importance of watersheds. I mean, look at what happened just in the last couple of days with the chemical spill in the Delaware River. Sent people scurrying like crazy all over the place for fresh water. Concerns about the water not being drinkable. So the more communities build up, the more chance you have of impacting that watershed in a negative way. And I like to hand these out to you. And if you learn one little thing from it, that's more than you knew before you came in here this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Burns.
Always a teacher.
Thank you.
That's a good thing.
Once a teacher, always a teacher.
Where did you teach?
Came to my technical school for 37 years.
Did you?
I taught the landscape architecture.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Coyne?
Good evening, Denise Coyne, Shoes Landing. Villages of Gloucester, you said you got a report the end of February?
Yes,
Is it
I
the-
actually got a plan.
Okay, is it the amended plan?
This is, excuse me?
Is it amended?
Yeah.
He recommends, replacing.
The 2015.
Okay, because I was told previously that the plan was being amended because the study was being done. But the study is still in draft form, never went to the planning board. Now you're telling me the amended plan is completed?
This is a draft that was prepared and submitted on the 24th of February.
Okay, but I was
received
told
this
that the
at-
study was
I
required to do.
received this at the end of the February meeting.
But I was told that the study was required to amend the plan, and that's why the plan was being amended. And then I'm told that the study isn't being sent to the planning board, and that's still in draft form. So I'm wondering why the taxpayers pay for an amended plan based on a study that hasn't been finalized.
I'm just telling you, I received this plan on the 15th of February. It was provided to the township. Mr. Carter was looking to get an update if that study or plan was going to go to planning board. Mr. Bach, that's not taking place yet. I have gone through it briefly, but there are some amendments to it. And I'm sure we could provide this to you eventually.
So do the amendments include the 16 lots in the study?
I don't recall. I would have to take a look at it again.
Okay, so I guess me being told that the plan was being amended based on the study being done was incorrect then.
Who told you that?
Mr. Lechner.
Mr. Lechner?
Mm-hmm.
When?
I don't know, I've been asking these questions for 3 years, so probably 2019, 2020.
I can't speak for Mr. Lechner. He's no longer an employee here, but
Okay, so as it stands now, we have a draft amended study that you're not sure if it includes the 16 lots or
No,
not.
I'm not saying I'm not sure. I perused it. I don't recall seeing that part, but I'll take a look at it again.
Okay, so are you aware of what the purpose of the amendments are for that area? It already had a plan. It already
Yeah, it
had a
talks
redevelopment plan.
It talks about including the makerhood. Would you like me to go through it?
No, I would like you to tell me what the amendments
No,
are.
maybe I can go through it. I want to make sure I'm clear.
No, that's
I'm telling
okay.
you.
No, I don't want you to
Okay.
take up my
Then we'll
time. I
save
have
it.
other questions.
We'll save it for another time. Continue with the other questions.
Okay, so as far as you know, the study is not being sent back to the planning board.
I don't know. See, I don't want to make assumptions here because I know you want a clear answer.
Yes, I
So,
do.
Okay, so I'm not sure at this time, but we could provide that information as soon as we know.
Okay, and then, let's see, the study, the, Lakeland Connector Trail, as far as the purpose, understand that you might have a legal obligation, but what is the purpose of having a public hearing for that Lakeland Connector Trail?
As Mr. McGill had stated, as part of the funding requirement.
Okay, but what, are they going to explain what it's for, what it does, how it's going to be designed? Like, what are they going to
Yes.
tell the public?
Yes, everything you just said.
Okay, so the public could come and ask questions.
They could ask questions. The public hearing at 10 o'clock on April 6th.
Okay, and then, as far as why, you're doing an amended plan and a study for those 16 lots, you said it's not to offer a pilot. But it's my understanding, if you're doing a study to determine if lots qualify as a redevelopment zone, it's for one of two reasons. The first being eminent domain, or the second being a pilot. If you do eminent domain, you have to state that when you do the study. That was not stated. So the only thing left is long-term tax abatement. But you said that's not the case. So then there's no reason, according to you, to do the study.
No, I didn't say there's no reason to do.
Well, those are the two things that differentiate a rehabilitation plan and a redevelopment plan.
Your question was asking if this plan or study took place to give a pilot.
Yes.
And I don't think the township, I'm gonna go on record, the township doesn't enter into a study or a plan to give a pilot to a developer.
That's why you do a study, because it's one of two things, eminent domain or long-term tax abatement. So if you're not doing eminent domain, you must be doing long-term tax abatement.
Well, I'm going to defer to our planner and verify that. But no, it's not for the purpose of a pilot.
Okay, long-term tax abatement then.
Again, I don't believe the purpose of to have a long-term tax abatement.
Then what was the purpose of it?
Okay, well, I'll go through it.
No, the study, not the amended plan, the study that taxpayers paid $23,000
An area
for.
redevelopment. Ms. Coyne, you've come up here over the last months over and over again, and you've asked these questions over and over again. We try to provide you answers for those questions. Some of the questions, the answers, you don't like the responses to it. Some of the questions you send to us, we need some answers from our professionals, and at times we don't have those answers at the time when you're asking them. And I try to give you some clear answers to them. And when I say, no, it's not for a pilot, and you ask me if it's for a tax abatement, I say, no, it's not for a tax abatement. It's for an area in need of redevelopment. And then you go into the study, then you go into the plan. I don't know what do you want me to tell you?
I would like a
Stacy,
clear answer as to why
are you
the
saying
taxpayers
that we
paid
did this redevelopment plan,
$23,000
Ms.
for
Coyne,
a study.
for a developer? Is that what you want us to say?
No, I want to know why the taxpayers paid $23,000
For the
for a
taxpayers
study
got a
on
product,
16 lots. Can I finish clarifying? I would like to know why the taxpayers paid $23,000 for 16 lots at the Village of Gloucester when it already had a redevelopment plan that you yourself said that could be used to develop those lots.
Ms. Coyne, thank you for your time.
And I still have not gotten a clear answer, and I've
Thank you
been
for your
asking
time,
these
Ms. Coyne.
questions for 3 years.
Coyne,
I just like that on the public record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Krug.
Evening again, council.
Good evening.
So resolution 82 passed, which is support for an application for an additional cannabis retail business in the township. I think based off of just a remembrance count, maybe that makes 7 or 8. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's pretty close to about that. I know I had brought up months ago, and I believe Sam Sweet had brought up maybe at the last meeting or the meeting prior to that, a cap on the number of cannabis retail businesses allowed in the township, until which point we're able to see how this all plays out, given the fact that this is the first time state, county, local municipalities are allowing recreational cannabis usage. And we don't know the full extent or effect on the population, especially when it comes to vehicular accidents, and given that it's a psychoactive chemical, how that plays out in society. So maybe it would be a good idea to instate a cap, given the fact that, if my number is correct, 7 or 8 have been approved. And that's certainly enough to start and provide the population with access to their recreational cannabis. So I guess my question is, when can we expect that resolution, the cap resolution, from this council? Because it's been, through dialogue, seemingly a good idea from both the people who attend these meetings, and then with the dialogue with council, you have agreed that that is a good idea. So could we get a timeline on when we would expect that resolution on agenda?
So just to clarify for those in the audience and those who are watching, these are resolutions to approve an application for that applicant to submit something to the state. We do not have 7 or 8 existing dispensaries or retail cannabis shops in our township. Is that correct, Mr. Krug?
That's correct. I didn't say we did.
I know,
I did not say we
no,
did.
I just want to be clear. So I want to make sure that, we do not have any currently that are operating. Am I correct, Chief?
That is correct. We have none that.
None that are currently operating. But I think as a council, and we kind of agree with those that brought it as far as having a cap. I don't think I want to put a cap on the number of applicants, but a cap that are actually operating or existing in the township. And that's something that, you know what, Nancy, let's put that on our workshop for the month. That workshop's open to everybody at 6:30.
Great, thank you. Secondarily, tonight, I wanted to see if we could get a timeline on when we could expect full council representation at these meetings, because for 5 months, by my count, Mrs. Stubbs has been absent from these meetings. And speaking as a citizen whose representatives are up there, I feel as though full representation is something that I should be granted. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I've heard other people express this to you. And I'm sure there are people, citizens of Gloucester Township, who feel the same way. So how long will this go unresolved?
I'm not sure. I agree with you. Absolutely, we should have full representation. But when you say people are brought up, I think there's a small few. And I think that those individuals, they've stated their point. They've made their case. There's no need to continue beating up on Councilwoman Stubbs. She's not here. We're aware that she's not here. I don't know if she's going to return, Mr. Crew.
So will you take steps to remediate that situation?
Let me finish, but posting things online and making memes and making fun of a council person or any individual, we don't know what that person is doing.
Just to clarify, I do not do that.
I'm not saying that you are.
You always bring these things up when I'm speaking.
Mr. Crew,
I do not do that.
you're stepping over me. You want an answer? I'm going to give you an answer. You don't want me to answer? Then I'll let you continue.
I just want to hear the timeline as to when this will be resolved, because it's been brought up and she has not been in attendance for 5 months.
And I have stated, okay, the voters voted for Mrs. Stubbs.
And the voters are not being represented through Mrs. Stubbs' vote. So when will there be leadership on this to resolve it?
I can't throw Mrs. Stubbs off of council. Neither of us can. No one here. I can assure you on 12/31, she would no longer be a council person.
And is that the timeline? Is that what we're waiting on?
That's at the latest, Mr. Crew, but I'm not sure.
But the assumption as of today is that we will go on without a full council for the remainder of this year.
I'm not going to assume anything.
Okay.
But
Well, I don't know where we stand then, because we just went in a circle.
Mr. Cruz, you've made your point. You stated it, okay? And, you know, we've documented and it's been recorded. And I'll share your concern with Mrs. Stubbs when I speak to her next time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Henry.
Evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Ray Henry, Camden Avenue. 2 weeks ago, I was out on business doing an assessment for work, and I had emailed in a few questions about the location of the dispensary next to the Howard Johnson. Were those received? Because I sent them in, and they were sent in around 6:20.
Oh, then they were not read at the council meeting.
Why not? The website says 7 p.m. the day of the meeting.
I had asked for that. Well, that should be amended because I stated at reorganization in January that we would like to have that before the day of the, before.
Okay, but that's
Mr. Henry, can you let me finish?
No.
No? Okay, then you have your time, Mr. Henry.
Because you're gonna sit there and set a rule and set a standard, and you're not even gonna abide by it. It was legitimate questions addressed to the chief and everybody up here, not facts-based, not data-based, simple opinions about the location, the security, the violence, and everything else that goes on at the Howard Johnson's. And you're gonna let a business go in there knowing that almost a month ago, somebody was shot and killed by a prostitute and her job. It's part of my daily work. I get notifications daily from Homeland Security. But for you to sit there, get the emails knowing that the website says 7 p.m. and you still didn't do it, that's you're either the smartest, ignorant person I've ever met, or your head's as big as your ego. Seriously. And you can sit up there and smirk all you want.
Well, we're gonna have fun for the next 6 months, Mr. Henry.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we
We're
are.
gonna have fun.
Oh, absolutely. And when the
Please
four
continue.
and when the
I
four
don't
of
wanna
us
take
hey,
your time. Please
and when the
continue.
four of us win, the rest of us are all gonna have real fun. But play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes.
Is there anyone else who'd like to follow the gentleman? Anyone else would like to speak who has not spoken yet? Ms. Corn, you're our last speaker.
Denise Coyne, Hughes Landing, and I'd just like it on the record that you try to present it like I'm being some kind of a pest, asking these questions. And all I'm trying to do is make you be accountable for decisions that you are making as our representatives. You are supposed to represent us. You're supposed to be accountable to us. I'm asking questions that I never get answers to. It's been 3 years I've been asking these questions over and over and over again. And the responses I get from you are, oh, I can't answer that tonight, Ms. Coyne, but I'll send you an email tomorrow. Did you send me an email, President Mercado?
Am I allowed to respond?
Yes, please do.
Okay, last meeting?
Yes.
When did you, last meeting?
Yes,
Okay, I did not send you an email.
you did not.
I did not recall.
And this is what
I
happens.
did not recall the question that you asked me.
This is what happens over and
I guess you
over
understand.
and
Continue
over
speaking.
again. I ask and I don't get answers. What I get is, we can't answer. We have to ask T&M. Then I come back. Did you ask T&M? Oh, no. Mr. Carlemere, do you have that answer? Oh, no, Mr. Carlemere has to talk to the planning board. So I come back the following week. Did Mr. Carlemere talk to the planning board? Oh, no. Mr. Carlemere, can you talk to the planning board? Then the following week I come back. Did Mr. Carlemere talk to the planning board? No, he didn't. How do I get answers from you guys? Please tell me, because I've tried everything. I've come here in person, I've asked, I've sent in e-govs, I've sent in emails, I've done everything I can think of. I'm not asking ridiculous questions. I'm asking legitimate questions that deserve answers. I would like some answers. It's your job.
And we're gonna try to provide you those answers.
How? It's been 3 years. Is it that hard?
Ms. Corn, you have not been asking these questions.
I have.
To me, no, you have not.
Oh,
You've spoken to
really?
Mr.
There's a
Lexner.
Sun article from 2020, I believe, that states I've been asking these questions over and over again. I have a record of all the questions I've asked. And remember, these meetings are recorded.
Okay.
Okay, so I have been asking these questions over and over and over again, and I don't understand the difficulty you have in answering them when you're the redevelopment entity. You're supposed to have the answers. You're the one making the decisions. How could you possibly not know why you are deciding something? Explain that to me.
This is an area redevelopment. It has been, we have received a draft plan here, and I'll try to provide you those answers, Ms. Corn.
Can I have a copy of that draft plan
I'm sure. We'll provide it.
tomorrow?
Yeah, you can open it.
Say Oprah it, okay, and then it takes me 2 weeks to get it. You have it, it's ready, available, why can't I have it?
Sure, there, we have 65 other thousand residents that would like a copy of that, perhaps.
Oh, I
You
doubt
can-
that.
You can open it. know
I
you know
doubt
the
that very
process.
much.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close the public portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Carlemere?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis?
Nothing at this time.
Chief Harkins?
Nothing to report.
Mr. McGill?
Nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Hutchison?
Congratulations to the award recipients and thank you very much for coming.
Ms. Grace?
Ditto, Mr. Hutchinson. I'm tired, sorry. It's been a long night. Congratulations to all the recipients and everyone. Have a great night.
Mrs. Albright Troxel.
I also extend my congratulations to all the women in the township who were honored tonight, and it does my heart good to see women being honored for helping people in the township. And it goes beyond and above everything that they're required to do as a citizen, and I really appreciate that, and it just touches my heart. And I thank you all for coming out, and I thank you for your questions.
Mrs. Winters.
I want to thank everyone for coming out, congratulate everyone who was nominated for Women Who Make a Difference. And just to recognize the Gloucester Township Hockey Lions finished their second tournament, which was in Marlton. They had 4 teams win in their division. 2 of those teams were ages 13 to 15, 1 was 10 to 12, and 1 was ages 7 to 9. So it was, spread out through the whole league, and they started their Belmar tournament, I think, on Friday or Saturday, so that'll be another local tournament. And then I believe they're going up to Pittsburgh and they're going to Massachusetts also, but I'm not sure. And have a great night.
Mr. Mercado.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening for your questions, comments, and concerns. I want to congratulate all the women who honored this day, who make a difference in our community. A few things that are coming up in our township. On April 8th is the Gloucester Township Scholarship 5K race, which takes place here. There's also a 1 mile walk or run that supports Gloucester Township scholarships. This year, I believe they're giving out $45,000 in scholarships to 45 seniors that are attending school, high school seniors that are attending college in the fall. In addition to that, the Bunny Brunch, I believe, is also taking place that same day. No, that is April 1st, I believe, at the rec center. And there's some other things that are taken out. Please make sure to check the calendar for the township. With that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor? Have a great evening, everyone.